Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Illuminati. The man who rules the world takes on the head of the global elite in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes Illuminati on Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. In a previous video, I talked about why director Ava DuVernay's film Origin got snubbed during Hollywood's award season. And in this video, I'm going to explain to director Ava DuVernay why her film Origin does not explore the foundations of American racism and go in depth on the actual foundations of American racism that Origin did not talk about in its entirety of its film. Now, director Ava DuVernay wanted to talk about the foundations of American racism in Origin by exploring places like Nazi Germany and India's caste system based on a theory that American racism is based on caste. However, this whole theory in and of itself is completely flawed, and it's completely flawed because American racism isn't based on a caste system. No, American racism is based on religion. Now, the American racism is based on a religion, but that religion is not Christianity, Judaism, or Islam, or Buddhism. No, that religion is white supremacy. Now, most people would say that white supremacy isn't a religion, but they'd be lying to themselves because white supremacy is the unofficial religion of the world, and more people believe in white supremacy more than they do any known religion or philosophy as related to spirituality. And because most people believe in white supremacy more than they do any sort of spiritual doctrine, they basically take white supremacy and transpose it onto their doctrines and their religions, and they make it all part of their institutions of their own personal and what they believe to be spiritual beliefs. Now, white supremacy is a concept made up by the devil, and it's a concept made to, one, divide people so that Satan can conquer them, and two, it is also designed to keep people from knowing Jesus, the Messiah, and the Most High God, and having an actual relationship with God. That's the main reason for white supremacy, because what the devil wants to do is go out here and have people living a life that they think is right, but the road is taking them to hell. And as they buy into the system of white supremacy, they are actually being made twofold a child of hell and not knowing what's actually going on as related to the subtle politics transpiring around them as related to their spiritual life. Because as people invest in the system of white supremacy as related to its religion, they don't really see where they're going spiritually as related to their lives, because they're so invested in this world. And as they are invested in this world, they don't see how the devil is insidiously taking their souls to hell. That's what most people don't see about the entire system of white supremacy as they go about their everyday lives. And as they don't see the entire spiritual aspect of white supremacy, the unofficial religion of the world, what they do is buy into the world system. And as they invest in the world system, what happens to most of those people is they wind up getting caught up in this world, buying into the ideals of white supremacy and all of the riches and rewards that the system of white supremacy will provide them. And as they're buying into those whole system of getting those riches, what they want to do is continue to believe in that system of white supremacy because they see the benefits that are provided to them, and because they see the tangible benefits, they don't trust in the Most High God to provide for them. No, they trust in this world system controlled by the devil. Now, this whole system of white supremacy is based on a lie, and this is the third lie that the devil has told to trick people into buying into his system. The first lie that the devil told was that to Eve, that she could know like God, and this basically plunged the world into sin. The second lie he told is that to man that he doesn't exist according to some people, and that makes it where they can buy into the system of white supremacy and not see him. And the third lie that was told was to white people that they are supreme and divine, and that they have dominion over the earth to the point where they can dominate and subjugate people. And this lie is the one that the devil uses to control the masses and take souls straight to hell. That's what the main foundations of American racism are based on. It's based on a religion of white supremacy, and this false religion is the reason why we see that white supremacy isn't just about American racism. No, it is a global belief system. It is a global way of life, and it is a global set of values that people are indoctrinated into since birth. And the only way to break out of that mindset is for God to open your eyes and let you see the truth. And once you see the truth about the foundations of American racism, which is a symptom of white supremacy, you understand that the entire foundation for American racism is white supremacy. And under the system of lies of white supremacy, other people of other nations want to join in to this social hierarchy, because under white supremacy, the ideal is that the white man and the white woman are God, and as they have been deemed to be God and steward over the earth, they are the masters of all of the resources of the lands that they conquer. And in order for people to receive benefits from that system, they need to participate in the ideals of white supremacy in order to maintain the smooth operation of the world. Now, most of these other minorities, again, they have been indoctrinated into white supremacy, and they're looking to try to receive benefits from this system by submitting to the authority of white supremacy, and hope to be other classes under the hierarchy of white supremacy in an effort to continue to receive benefits from it. Now, this whole hierarchy is designed so that the white supremacist can remain on a false position of being on top, and as he is on the top in the system, he is in a place where he is in a pseudo position of power, because all these other individuals have been subjugated to believe that in order to receive benefits from this system, they have to submit to the authority of white supremacy. Now, the main foundation for keeping the system of white supremacy in place all over the world is making sure that somebody is at the bottom, and what they do to keep the black man at the bottom is participate in anti-black racism, because anti-black racism is the main reason that white supremacy can maintain its power, because as long as there's somebody at the bottom, they can remain on their artificial position at the top, because all of the other minorities, they don't want to be at the bottom, and they don't want to not be able to get benefits. So they participate in a covert contract where they believe that if they support the system of white supremacy, the white supremacist will keep them in their position in the pecking order, and they go out here and actively go out here and participate in anti-black racism, because that allows them to maintain their position in the social pecking order of white supremacy. So when it comes to the system of white supremacy as related to American racism, its whole reason for being is they need to keep the black man and black woman at the bottom of their world in order to maintain its smoothness. And that smoothness is based on that world having no conflicts, problems, or obstacles for people who are white to be able to live the life that they want, where they can have all of the benefits in that system and be able to live a higher class life, because as long as there's a black person at the bottom, they can feel secure about their place at the top. And in order to maintain that position at the top, they create false narratives about black people to demonize them, saying that black men are violent, black men are sexual deviants, black men are sexually promiscuous, black women are sexually promiscuous, and black people are less than human. And these narratives are designed to demonize black people in the eyes of people all over the world, to make people believe that black people are less than. But these narratives are more lies created by the white supremacists to maintain their artificial position at the top. And in some ways, they are actually just projecting their own ideas about themselves onto black people, because in most cases, most white supremacists are insecure, and they're insecure because they know that everything about their place in the world was not made by God and is based on the lies of the devil. And because they know that every part of their place in the world is established by the devil, they fear losing their whole place in the world, because they know it's all based on a bunch of falsehoods. And this is why white supremacy is hyper vigilant, and it's hyper vigilant to the point where any little thing can make many of them just get triggered, because they fear having to deal with actual competition that can challenge them in their system. And all of the other individuals who are under white supremacy also fear this, because they know that their entire house is built on a house of cards and a house of lies. And because they know that their whole structure and system are based on lies, they know it can easily fall completely apart. And that is the thing that scares most people who believe in the religion of white supremacy. Most people who believe in the religion of white supremacy fear the truth coming out about the entire foundations of that system, all being based on lies created by the devil. Because the devil, again, told the white man and white woman that they basically were stewards over the earth. He had given them dominion to conquer, gave them weapons to conquer, and again did this because his job is to kill, steal, and destroy. And as his job is to kill, steal, and destroy, he is doing this not only because he wants to control the world, but his ultimate goal is to get souls. The ultimate goal of the white supremacist is to do the work of the devil in taking souls to hell. Again, because as long as people buy into this religion, they are not seeing the Most High God and his Son, Jesus the Messiah, who was basically came to go out here and give his life as a ransom for everyone. He gave his life for a ransom for everyone so that they could be redeemed as related to their souls from this world and the sin. That's all part of Jesus's whole thing, what he did on the cross when he gave his life to give everybody that gift of salvation by paying everyone's sin debt in full. That's all what he did on the cross. And this is what he did for everyone in order to save their spiritual life and give them the gift of eternal life. That is what Jesus did. But what the white supremacist is that he is the steward of the world. He wants to keep you focused on the world and not on things that are spiritual. And that all relates to the foundations of American racism, because American racism is all about getting people invested into the system of white supremacy and buying into this religion to the point where you basically are believing it every day. And as you're buying into the religion of white supremacy, you basically wind up getting caught up in it to the point where you're on the brink of losing your soul. I talk about this in 2 of my books. I talk about it in 2002's ISIS in chapter 15, where I talk about ISIS's trip to America when she was looking to help black people. And as she was looking to help black people, she wound up getting caught so much into white supremacy that it corrupted her mind. And as it corrupted her mind, she wound up on a road to a great tragedy where, after her entire family got lynched, she wound up murdering the Klansmen. But the whole thing is, she had the power of a goddess and did not use it. And she didn't use it because she got caught up in the beliefs of white supremacy, and that whole system took over her mind to the point where she basically felt powerless, to the point where she could do nothing for her husband or her son, all because she got caught up in white supremacy. And I wanted to show in that book how insidious white supremacy is on the black mind. And I'm also showing it in a new book, ISIS Dark Incubus. It's a very insidious belief system. And I also talk about this in The Temptation of John Haynes, where John Haynes explains to Esteem about the system of white supremacy after he's racially profiled by his own security team. I mean, in this book, he's the CEO of Morris Phillips, and he's racially profiled by his security team. And in that whole sequence in the second act, he explains to Esteem, who is a demon, about the system of white supremacy. And after he explains this, he deals with the entire situation with that security team. And after he deals with it, he shows Esteem the value of her own soul in the climax. And she breaks away from that entire system and starts to learn about the actual truth regarding to God. So the entire foundations of racism in America, they are not based on caste. No, they are based on religion, because white supremacy is the unofficial religion of the world. And I would say that is the fourth lie that was told, because people, they think that they are serving God sometimes as they practice religion, but they don't understand that white supremacy has basically transposed itself onto religion. And that's why you see a white Jesus, even though it says clearly in the Bible he had feet that were like brass or something, and hair like sheep's wool. I mean, this is what they do. And again, white supremacy will transpose itself as Satan's religion onto everything, make you believe in the lies, and keep you from seeing the truth. And as it keeps you from seeing the truth, you buy into narratives that go against what God has said in his word as related to the 2 commandments Jesus gave, which were to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And if you practice those 2 commandments, you are not going to go out and participate in this racism that Americans participate in. No, what you're going to do is see people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin, because what the white supremacist wants to do, again, is the work of the devil by dividing and conquering people. And this is how they maintain control, by dividing and conquering people. And that, again, the foundations for American racism are spiritual, and they are based on Satan's concepts. and they're based on Satan's concepts, because Satan's concepts are to destroy everything and make himself the God of this world. And part of the way he makes himself the God of this world is by going out and making people buy into his religion of white supremacy, because he knows if he calls it Satanism, people won't buy into it. But if he calls it he doesn't call it white anything but white supremacy, you'll buy into it and believe in it. Buy into it because it basically violates the first commandment that God made in his word in the 10 commandments, and violates the first commandment that Jesus gave when he came to earth, which was, thou shalt have no other gods before me, and to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, and spirit. When you go out here and buy into the system of white supremacy, you make the image of white people into a false God and a false Christ, and you buy into this system, buy into these beliefs, and as you buy into these beliefs, instead of you trusting in God, who is not a man, you trust in the idol of the white man and the white woman. And as you trust into those idols, you are taken away from God, who is not a man. And instead of you having faith, you become filled with fear, because the system of white supremacy is all about getting power through fear, and that fear keeps you from having faith in God. It's that fear that keeps you from having faith in God, to trust in him. And instead of trusting in him and in his gospel, which he said that he had already overcome the world, you get caught up in the world. And as you get caught up in the world, you wind up becoming spiritually lost. Now, I hope this explains to Ava DuVernay the actual foundations for American racism, because the actual foundations for American racism is white supremacy. And I found it quite troubling that she omitted this from her movie overall as related to origin, because the origins of American racism are based on religion, and it's not about a caste system. No, it's about a belief system. And if you can get the entire world to believe in this whole idea of white supremacy, you can not only get people's lives in this world, but you can take their souls in the next one. Now, if you want to learn about the whole concepts of white supremacy and how I applied them to explain them in the SJS Direct universe, you can pick up the first ISIS on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, the 2002 version, and you can also pick up The Temptation of John Haynes on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find both ISIS and The Temptation of John Haynes at other online booksellers like Smashworth, the iBookstore, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available on Lulu, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the first John Haynes comic at lulu.com today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS, All About the Goddess. The Goddess Next Door bears all in the art studio to catch a campus stalker in this action-packed ISIS series mystery. Get your copy of ISIS, All About the Goddess in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.